Hello, Shazaib here, and welcome to Alpha. Growing is a crucial part of living. In fact, everything from an individual muscle cell to a baby blue whale strives to grow in order to live and perhaps replicate or reproduce. Sometimes, however, growth fails to occur or even reverts backward, and we call that atrophy, aplasia, or hypoplasia. Depending on the situation, let's break these words down. Atrophy. A means no and trophy means nourishment. So atrophy means no nourishment. Second, aplasia. A again means no and plasia means development. So aplasia means no development. And hypo means under, so hypoplasia is underdevelopment. In a nutshell, atrophy is a reduction in size of cell, organ, or tissue after it has attained its normal matured growth size. This happens either through decrease in cell number or decrease in cell size. A decrease in cell number most commonly happens due to apoptosis, which is a controlled type of cell death, a bit like cellular suicide. An example would be through weight loss. In the first few weeks to months of eating healthy and losing weight, the fat cells or adipocytes get smaller but are ready to fill up again with fat. Over months to years of eating healthy, however, the adipocytes undergo apoptosis, and at that point, it's a bit more difficult to gain back the weight. A decrease in cell size, however, is a bit more complex. Usually, the first step is the loss of nerve or hormonal supply, both of which provide nourishment to cells, and then there is something called the ubiquitin proteasome pathway. You see, cells have a cytoskeleton, which is a framework of various filaments that keeps the cell propped up as cell starts getting nourishment. Those filaments get tagged for demolition with a protein called ubiquitin. Ubiquitin protein starts to attach to one another, a process known as polyubiquitination, and then there is this intercellular protein complex called proteasome comes in to destroy all polyubiquitinated filaments, causing the cells to decrease in size. Some organelles can also be tagged with ubiquitin, and when that happens, a bubble of phospholipid bilayer membrane forms around the organelle, creating a vacuole. Next, lysosomal vesicles are filled up with degradative enzymes fused with the vacuole, destroying the unfortunate organ. One example is muscle atrophy. Anytime there's a long-standing disuse of muscle like extended bed rest, zero gravity, or particularly long study session, there can be loss of muscle mass and strength. The good news is that this type of muscle atrophy is reversible with exercise. But there's also a more severe form of muscle atrophy which happens in cachexia or whole body wasting syndrome. This form of muscle atrophy is often so severe that it's not typically reversible and happens in severe illnesses like AIDS or in some form of cancer. But atrophy is not necessarily pathological. In fact, it's often a part of normal development. For example, it happens in thymus. The thymus is a small organ that sits over the heart and is responsible for the maturation of T cells, which are part of human immune system. As child grow and their immune system get established, the thymus begins to atrophy. The process is called thymus involution. As a result, thymus is much larger in young children than it is in adults. Now, aplasia and hypoplasia are somewhat different. They are both ways in which growth can go wrong during embryogenesis or whenever organs develop within the fetus. With aplasia, the precursor cells are completely absent. While in hypoplasia, there are some precursor cells present, but not enough of them. With aplasia, the organ never forms in the first place. So this is the more severe case. Going back to thymus again, in DiGeorge syndrome, a small part of 22nd chromosome is deleted, so the genes that code for the thymus are gone. As a result, the cells never have the DNA they need to express the protein that would turn them into thymic precursor cells. Therefore, as a result, the thymus never forms and the person is left with the severely impaired immune system. Hypoplasia or underdevelopment is more common and usually result in minor consequences. Here there are only some precursor cells available and that result in a smaller or misshapen organ. One example is a genetic disease called optic nerve hypoplasia, where there are fewer neurons than normal serving the eye. Because of this, optic nerve is abnormally thin and the result can vary widely from near blindness to near normal eyesight, all depending on how many axons are actually formed in the first place. Alright, here's a quick recap. Atrophy, aplasia, and hypoplasia are terms for lack or absence of growth in organ or tissue. Atrophy means the wasting of a previously normal mature organ or tissue. Aplasia means usually a complete congenital lack of an organ or tissue, while hypoplasia means a relative congenital lack of cells in an organ or tissue. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.